They had a show in Chicago. Eddie Griffin was the headliner. Got him up, dog. Me and Eddie, we be talking on the phone now. We always knew each other, but I'm saying, like, he kept trying to get in touch with me, he said. I was scared of Eddie at first because I thought he wasn't approachable. You know what I'm saying?
You know what happened? You should have never sued the liquor company. That's what up. You up. They don't give a fuck about you tearing up booty holes. Up when you sued the liquor company.
So when I'm ad-libbing on the show to save this, you understand me? You sending me doo-doo, mother.
I mean, do you feel that Hollywood is still racist?
No. Hell, yeah, they racist. Is you crazy? Did you see the new movie about Mo?
Doing a civil suit against Tyler Perry. I don't know if he put any criminal acts against him, but it's real funny, man, how stuff I talked about.
Eddie Griffin is finally breaking his silence, and what he's revealing about Tyler Perry is deeply unsettling. After years of rumors, quiet talk, and people pretending nothing ever happened, Eddie says he's seen enough behind closed doors to understand what was really going on. Now, with Tyler Perry facing a major lawsuit, Eddie's past warnings are starting to feel a lot more serious. So what does Eddie claim Tyler did to him? And why is this story exploding right now? Stick around, because this tea is heavy.
Told me this. Once you hit some licks out here and they start you, then they come to you. They be like, so, how big of a star do you
No motherfucker idea what it is to be a young black male. So when table read comes, me and Malcolm got to tweak the script, but we ain't getting the writing credit.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you're doing the work of the white writers.
You understand me?
But you're not
so
getting
when
paid.
Who's hiding? Where you at? You freak all peoples. They coming to get you. Diddy's singing right now. He's singing high notes, low notes.
We put too much pressure on Tyler Perry. You know what I mean? He ain't put nobody on. The people.
Eddie Griffin, now 55, is finally opening up about what he claims Tyler Perry did to him. He's talking about alleged behind-the-scenes power moves, intimidation, and situations where people stayed silent for years because the pressure was just too intense. And the crazy part is, many of Eddie's old warnings are suddenly resurfacing now that Tyler Perry is caught up in a major lawsuit.
Where'd you grow up?
Planet Earth. I came out my daddy nutsack. I beat the rest of the egg. Then I fell out in this little town called Kansas City, Missouri.
You didn't stay there?
No, I stayed there, formative years of childhood to around age 15, and then moved to Compton, California.
What area were you living in?
Nutty Block. Palmer Block was right around the corner.
So it's a fairly crazy block.
It's a neighborhood. You know what I mean? When black men are systematically locked up, money is taken out the education system.
Because right now, Tyler Perry is facing a $260 million lawsuit filed by a male actor from one of his shows. And the internet is already looking at everything with a lot more scrutiny, especially in a time when powerful figures in Hollywood are being questioned and investigated. This case is making serious noise. So with the lawsuit gaining attention, Eddie's I tried to warn people moment is suddenly hitting much harder. If what Eddie is claiming turns out to be true, it could seriously impact Tyler Perry's public image and the empire he's built. But before all of this controversy, Eddie Griffin's story goes way back. He was born on July 15, 1968, in Kansas City, Missouri, and grew up in a very tough environment where surviving wasn't a choice, it was just everyday life.
You give us cocaine, the only option to make money, we're going to flip that. And, whenever there's money involved, comes into action because motherfucker, and then motherfucker, and then motherfucker get the snitch, and so on and so forth. Right. So it's a vicious wheel. Yes.
Nutty Block is a crip block.
Yeah.
Did you ever get involved in any of that?
No, I don't do gangs. I have a gang called Me, Myself, and I.
His mother, Doris Thomas, was a single parent working long hours as a phone company operator, doing whatever it took to keep food on the table and a roof over their heads. Life wasn't glamorous, but it was real, and those early struggles shaped Eddie in a big way. He was also raised in a strict Jehovah's Witness household, which strongly influenced how he viewed the world. Later on, that same rigid upbringing became something he could turn into comedy, because that's always been Eddie's gift. He never ran from hardship. He learned how to turn it into material. By the time he was attending Lincoln College Preparatory Academy, Eddie had already built a reputation. He wasn't the star athlete or the quiet teacher's pet. He was the class clown, and he proudly held that title for 3 straight years. But it wasn't just about getting attention. Eddie had a natural ability to make people laugh even when life was tough. He learned early how to turn pain into punchlines. Some teachers loved him. Others probably got tired of sending him to the office. But one thing was clear. The kid had real talent. His timing, confidence, and presence were things you just couldn't teach. And at only 16 years old, Eddie was already thinking like an entrepreneur. He opened his own dance studio and even landed work choreographing halftime shows for the Kansas City Chiefs. For a moment, it looked like his life was finally on a steady path. Then in 1989, everything changed. One night at the Sanford & Sons Comedy Club, Eddie was just hanging out when his cousin dared him to get on stage. He had never done stand-up before, no script, no practice, no backup plan. But something in him said go for it. So he did. What followed was magic. His 3-minute slot turned into nearly 45 minutes because the crowd wouldn't let him leave. He was pulling jokes straight from real life, his family, his neighborhood, growing up black in America, and somehow making it all hilarious. The room was locked in, laughing nonstop, begging for more. That night, Eddie knew his life had changed forever, and he moved fast. Within weeks, he scraped together every dollar he had, bought a one-way ticket to Los Angeles, and left Kansas City behind. His mom thought he was making a huge mistake. His friends expected him to come back broke. But Eddie didn't care. He had felt what it was like to own a room, and he wasn't letting that feeling go. He arrived in California on a Greyhound with nothing but confidence and big dreams, a kid from the projects stepping into Hollywood, where talent is everywhere, but success is rare. At the time, he had no idea his name would one day be connected to major industry drama and powerful people who didn't like being challenged. When Eddie reached Los Angeles in 1990, reality hit hard. Within months, he was homeless, sleeping wherever he could, and hustling for any stage time that would let him touch a microphone. By day, he worked whatever jobs he could find, painting, washing dishes, anything to survive. By night, he chased comedy, refusing to give up on the dream that started the moment he stepped on that stage.
I remember I interviewed John Amos, who played the father on Good Times. And he told me that...
It didn't actually threaten his writers. I promised them.
Wow.
There was a difference. I promised them that there were going to be some severe repercussions if the stuff continued.
Yeah, I had problems with the writers all the time on that show. The show was about 2 young, black, talented individuals. And, we owned our own bar.
Then his luck finally broke through. Eddie created a spot-on parody of Andrew Dice Clay that spread through the comedy world like wildfire. Even Dice himself heard about it, and instead of taking offense, he was impressed enough to bring Eddie on the road as his opening act for a 22-city tour. Overnight, Eddie went from struggling just to get by to performing in front of massive crowds. But his real legend status was built at the Comedy Store. Eddie didn't just do short sets, he ran marathons. He would stay on stage so long that the audience would be exhausted from laughing, and other comics hated following him because he left the room completely spent. That's how he earned the nickname the Endurance King. No one could match his energy or hold a crowd the way he did. While all of the success was happening, Eddie also started noticing things that felt off. Some hecklers seemed too organized. Certain audience reactions felt planted, and a few moments looked almost staged. It led him to believe that the industry had ways of monitoring comedians and trying to rein in the ones who became too influential or outspoken. In 1991, Eddie landed a role in The Last Boy Scout alongside Bruce Willis, and that's when Hollywood really started paying attention. But even with real opportunities coming in, Eddie didn't change who he was. He still spoke his mind, joked about uncomfortable topics, and refused to play nice just to stay in favor. His suspicions about planted hecklers never faded. He later pointed to an incident in Oakland where a woman threw a drink at him on stage, and he believed it wasn't random at all. To him, it felt like a warning, a message meant to intimidate and show what could happen to comics who spoke too freely. When that same woman later tried to sue him, Eddie fought back and won, but the experience only deepened his mistrust of the industry and the power games he believed were happening behind the scenes.
It's hot as hell in this Cadillac, honey. I don't have no air conditioner.
You have one in?
I want a ham, an egg, and a cheese biscuit.
By the mid-90s, Eddie had already earned a reputation as one of the boldest voices in comedy. He never watered down his opinions and didn't care who felt uncomfortable. While Eddie was building that image as a truth-teller, another black entertainer was rising in a completely different way, Tyler Perry. Perry went from a difficult upbringing to becoming one of the most powerful figures in Hollywood. But to Eddie, Tyler's climb seemed unusually smooth compared to what most people in the industry go through. Eddie first really took notice of Tyler Perry in the early 2000s, when Perry's stage plays started exploding in popularity across the South. And one of the first things that stood out was the onstage persona Perry in a wig and a dress, playing a loud, over-the-top matriarch character.
We put too much pressure on Tyler Perry. You know what I mean? He ain't put nobody on. The people that been in.
To Eddie, it felt like a complete contrast to everything he had built his career around. His own style was raw and unapologetically masculine, while Perry was leaning into playing exaggerated matriarch characters and growing a huge audience through that kind of comedy.
Medea, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Are you going out on Black Friday?
What the hell is Black Friday? Every Friday is Friday. I'm black. That's a Black Friday. What you talking about? I don't know.
As Perry made the jump from stage plays to hit films like Diary of a Mad Black Woman and Medea's Family Reunion, Eddie began seeing things in a different light. It wasn't just that Perry was successful, it was how quickly the industry seemed to welcome him with open arms. Eddie had to fight for every opportunity, every inch of progress. Meanwhile, Perry's rise looked like doors were flying open with the red carpet already laid out. But let me ask you something.
So you're doing the work of the white writers.
You understand me?
But you're not
So
getting
when
paid.
I'm ad-libbing on the show to save this, you understand me? You sending me doo-doo, mother.
I mean, do you feel that Hollywood is still racist?
No. Hell, mother, that ain't racist. Is you crazy? Did you see the new movie about Moses?
Right.
How the is the gladiator dude Moses? The out of here. This is in Africa, not some small village in Sweden. Who comes up with this? That's like me playing JFK. Eddie Griffin as John F. Kennedy. The movie gonna start with my black ass getting, then the rest of the movie's about the white detective trying to figure.
Then Eddie began hearing the whispers. Actors and comedians talked about how the atmosphere on some of Perry's sets could feel tense or uneasy, like people had to be extra careful just to keep their place. Some said the professional boundaries didn't always feel clear, and others felt that Perry's influence made it hard to speak up or challenge anything without risking their careers.
A movie called Precious.
I loved it.
When we did the contract, he said you have 5% of the film. The film goes to Sundance, and it begins to get all of this praise. Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey get involved with Precious.
Okay.
They become executive producers. When it came,
He does such nice things for people. He does. But he's going to make sure you know about it. He's going to make sure you knew. Okay, then, Red Grant, we knew he had Whitney Houston on the plane. We knew he paid for the girl's house when it burned down. We knew he left a $3,000 tip.
She made it public in the book. For the last 15 years of her life, I took care of her. She made $6,000.
Wow.
That was all she made.
When she did it back then.
When she did Sounders. So she came to work from Why Did I Get Married? One day, I paid her $1 million.
It's like, listen, when you do things from here, that's between you and the universe.
Over time, Eddie started noticing the gap between them more clearly. He kept facing backlash for his opinions and social commentary, while Perry seemed largely untouchable, even when people raised concerns about how his stories portrayed black women and families. What really raised Eddie's suspicion was Perry's business setup. Tyler had a level of control in Hollywood that was almost unheard of. He owned his work, ran his own studio in Atlanta, and operated like he answered to no one. And the more powerful Perry became, the more Eddie saw a pattern. Anyone who questioned him quickly got pushed aside, while those who praised him kept rising. Over the years, everything Eddie observed started to feel like part of a bigger system. The higher Tyler Perry climbed, the harder it became for anyone to openly criticize him. It seemed inevitable that Eddie and Tyler were on a collision course, representing two very different visions of black entertainment, and only one of them appeared fully protected by the industry.
First alleged incident?
I got into bed and then I noticed that he climbed into bed with me as well and started rubbing my leg. And I jumped up out of bed. Unless someone's been through something where they have their control over their bodies taken away, you don't really understand the kind of feelings that you get in that moment.
Then June 13th, 2025 arrived, and the internet basically stopped. A 46-page lawsuit was filed against Tyler Perry in Los Angeles Superior Court by actor Derek Dixon, who reportedly appeared in 85 episodes of The Oval. Dixon is seeking $260 million in damages, alleging years of sexual misconduct and professional retaliation from one of Hollywood's most powerful figures. Here's where it gets even more complicated. The lawsuit claims Perry first met Dixon in 2019 at a party in Atlanta, where Dixon was working as event staff. Perry allegedly took an immediate interest, offering him roles and making it seem like Dixon's career was about to take off. But according to Dixon, what started as mentorship gradually turned into pressure and inappropriate behavior.
About the whole Malcolm and Eddie thing, like, what do you think was some of the most racist things you've dealt with being in Hollywood?
Hollywood, man.
Just Hollywood in general?
Yes. 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 You know, all right, you see the money they'll put behind an unknown white talent just starting out, right? When we all came out, this goes from Martin's show to me and Malcolm's show to Jamie Foxx's show.
The lawsuit also claims that Perry allegedly sent explicit messages, including one asking what it would take for Dixon to do things guilt-free. When Dixon reportedly tried to keep their interactions professional, the claims say Perry didn't step back. Instead, he allegedly used his influence over Dixon's career as leverage. Dixon further alleges that Perry crossed physical boundaries, including touching him in bed, sending suggestive messages, and even grabbing his throat while asking if he liked things rough. The most serious allegation centers on an incident in June 2021. Dixon claims he was invited to Perry's mansion to discuss a pilot he had written, but instead of a business meeting, Perry allegedly cornered him in the guest house, pulled down his underwear, and groped him without consent. According to the lawsuit, this behavior followed a disturbing pattern: get close, offer opportunities, gradually push boundaries, and keep the victim dependent on the next career move. Dixon even claims that when his character on The Oval faced multiple setbacks at the end of the season, Perry allegedly made it clear the character's future hinged on Dixon's compliance. For Eddie Griffin, watching all of this unfold felt like confirmation of what he had long suspected. The same man celebrated for clean, moral messaging and Christian values was now being accused of using his empire to control and exploit people behind the scenes.
They had a show in Chicago. Eddie Griffin was the headliner. Got him up, dog. Me and Eddie, we be talking on the phone now. We always knew each other, but I'm saying, like, he kept trying to get in touch with me, he said. I was scared of Eddie at first because I thought he wasn't approachable. You know what I'm saying? We gonna find a way. We gonna do some movies and everything, but you know, after talking to him, it's just what I thought. They came at him with that bullshit. He told me this. Once you hit some licks out here and they start you, then they come to you. They be like, so, how big of a star do you want to be?
How deep is your mouth? Let's see.
I know they come at you. Why y'all acting like y'all motherfuckers just getting it and ain't taking it? You never hear these motherfuckers talk about what they did for licks. You've been violated. They ain't gonna let you have it without it.
Once the lawsuit went public, Tyler Perry's polished image began to crack, and Eddie Griffin wasn't surprised in the slightest. If anything, he looked like he'd been waiting for this moment. In interviews and online posts, Eddie treated it as if the curtain had finally been pulled back on what he claimed to know for years. Eddie didn't hold back. He framed the situation as part of a larger industry problem, pointing out how Hollywood often protects powerful men while silencing everyone else. He even compared Perry's alleged behavior to other high-profile figures accused of similar misconduct, suggesting that Perry wasn't some untouchable mastermind, just sloppy, obvious, and finally exposed.
I looked at the gentleman over there, and it was Tyler Perry. I was like, oh, snap. I said, yo, little ninja, let me find out you wake up in the morning and Muddeer's in the room with you. Man, he sent my man 2 bottles of champagne over. I was like, yo, Black.
Eddie also recounted stories from events and parties where he said Perry's behavior around younger men felt unsettling. He described instances where Perry allegedly acted inappropriately after drinking, crossed personal boundaries, and made people uncomfortable in ways that didn't come across as jokes.
You know what happened? You should have never sued the liquor company. That's what up. You up. They don't give a fuck about you tearing up booty holes. up when you sued the liquor company, because the liquor company is owned by the biggest conglomerate on earth, the BlackRock people. You done bit off the hand that was feeding you, and now you done chop both your feet and your hand off. Your head's coming next. You was making money with Ciroc. Just shut up. You just thought your ego got out of whack because you was controlling everything at them freak parties. Now you think you control the hand that's feeding you. Stupid. He sued the liquor company May 2023. November 2023, Cassie come up with the lawsuit. Connect the dots. Cassie got 2 checks. She got a check from the mother liquor company people that put her up to doing that, and she got a check from Puffy to try to keep her quiet. Too late. Think. It ain't illegal yet, but they...
But Eddie's claims didn't stop with Perry himself. He suggested that Perry had people around him whose job was to manage issues before they became public. According to Eddie, when someone tried to distance themselves or limit their involvement, these handlers would allegedly step in, offering money, career favors, or quiet warnings that their future could get complicated. He also hinted at unspoken rules tied to casting, that certain roles came with expectations beyond just acting. In Eddie's telling, those who refused would suddenly get written out, while those who went along kept rising, landing bigger storylines and more screen time.
You're nervous, ain't you? Who's hiding? Where you at? You freak out peoples. They coming to get you? Diddy's singing right now. He's singing high notes, low notes. And that nigga was there too, and so was she. And that senator was there too. Clive was there. Yeah.
And then Eddie took it even further. He hinted that going against Perry could bring strange bad luck, like sudden career derailments or unexplained incidents. He didn't make direct accusations, but the implication was clear. Eddie believed Tyler Perry's empire wasn't built on talent alone. He felt it was also built on fear, control, and keeping people silent. For Eddie, this wasn't just about calling out one man. He framed it as exposing a larger system, the machinery of Hollywood itself. In his view, powerful figures don't stay protected by chance. They stay protected because the system is designed to shield them, while the people beneath them absorb the fallout. Eddie also claimed that once he started speaking openly, the pushback came quickly. He said he began receiving warnings from people he didn't even know, telling him to stay quiet. But instead of intimidating him, he took it as confirmation that he was touching something real. He's long believed that when an artist becomes too influential or outspoken, the industry starts watching them more closely, trying to control the narrative. And in his mind, that was exactly what was happening to him in real time.